Hey everyone, Smashverse here. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a rant video instead of my usual stuff. Talking about something that I feel needs to be talked about, which is all of Nintendo's IPs that they just never use. I guess you can say that this video is also meant to be an open letter to Nintendo telling them to give us these games. However, the chances of someone in Nintendo actually watching this and doing something about it is so slim that it doesn't actually matter. So, anyway, I don't really have a script for this, I just have a couple of notes and, well, let's get right into it. Also, to make it easier, I'm going to go through the series in order of appearance in Smash, and then just add a bunch at the end which aren't in the game. One of the things the Mother series is famous for in the West, and at least in the Smash community, is that they have a character in Smash that doesn't have a game in the West. This obviously being Lucas, who is in Mother 3, which was never released out of Japan. So the obvious thing to do for the series is, well, bring it over to the West. However, concerning the other two games, Mother 1 and Mother 2, or as it's called in the West, Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings for Mother 1, I think those should be brought over to the Switch as well. I mean, they already have the full game, so why not? Currently, if you want to play any of the Mother series, you have to have either an original NES or SNES, a SNES Classic, or a Wii U. So basically trying to play this series is pointless, unless you want to do it illegally. So yeah, that's honestly really all I could say about Mother. Just bring them all to the Switch. Whether you release the first games on the online apps and make Mother 3 a separate app, or make it an entire collection, you can do whatever you want, but just do it. Nintendo mainly says that the reason that there isn't a new FZero game yet is because they don't know what to do with the series. However, I think what needs to be done to the series is actually kind of obvious. Just make it online. Just imagine FZero, a racing game where you race against 29 other characters, and you're playing it online. If you think Mario Kart was bad with only 12, this is going to be nuts. Bringing back the course editor from the N64DD would also be a good idea, and the car creator from GX would also probably fit nicely. The one problem with FZero Online is that even with Mario Kart, which is only 12 players, you still can have some problems with Nintendo's online. Now, if you do that with 30, then it might not even play, so I don't know how that would work. Oh, and also, if you're making a new story mode, don't make it cheesy, it's just weird. I always thought that the idea of a new Ice Climbers game would just be amazing, if they did it right. The way I'm imagining it is kind of a puzzle platformer in the vein of Shantae Half Genie Hero, where you have 32 mountains just like the original game, making 32 levels. And then you have a boss after every 8 levels or so, making it so you have 5 bosses in the game. I think it would be cool to have a 4-player co-op mode with another pair of Ice Climbers, being green and yellow. I mean, those colours just make sense, and they are already a skin in Smash as well. I spoke to a friend about it, and the only names we can come up with using the naming conventions of Nana and Popo is Toto and Lulu. I'm sure that someone else can come up with something better. I think it'll be cool if, as you progress in the game, you get more items which you can go to previous levels to unlock new areas in them. Again, similar to Half Genie Hero. Heck, why not even get a way forward to help develop it? I heard they're pretty good at puzzle platformers. Anyway, the only reason Ice Climbers are even relevant anymore is because of Smash, so seeing them with a new game would probably be pretty fun. I think the Game & Watch series is too niche in order to make anything new for it. Unless you want to make something stupid like a mobile game gallery, or you put it on the LCD screen of a watch or something, then there's honestly no point of doing anything with Mr. Game & Watch. The Kid Icarus franchise owes its relevancy to Pit being brought in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, with it even having Sakurai himself directing a new game for the franchise, being Kid Icarus Uprising on the 3DS. I've heard a lot of good things about the game, however some negative things as well. I think if these issues were fixed and the game itself was up-resed and brought over to the Switch, it can be a pretty good half-price game. However, with Sakurai busy with Smash Ultimate and with no one I know of that would take the helm, chances are this isn't going to happen anytime soon. I played barely any of 2 Wario Land games, and I could say with a decent amount of certainty that it is some of the best platformers of all time, and that is without any sort of exaggeration. Why they didn't bring the series back is beyond me, but it's probably something got to do with the whole Wario microgame situation. However, I don't think there's any Wario microgames on the Switch, so why don't just bring back Wario Land? All I could say is, if they make a new Wario Land game with the same style as Wario Land Shake It on the Wii, then you'll probably know the next game I'm going to be saving up for. Hey, Pikmin. What can I say about Pikmin? Pikmin 4 was nearly done 5 years ago. Just give us the game already. I mean, what are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing for the past 5 years? I don't know if they decided to pull an entire Metroid Prime 4 on us and just redevelop the game entirely, because they didn't say anything like that. So where is the game? Just give us Pikmin already! Come on! What's wrong with you? Okay, that's enough. The next character on the list was Rob, however I decided to just make it into one massive thing for the NES. The NES app for Nintendo Switch Online is cool and all, however it has some bizarre exclusions. For some reason we're only getting new games once every 3 months now, and every time we do get a game it will essentially amounts to shovelware. It's just stupid already. For example, why isn't Duck Hunt available on Nintendo Switch Online? We know the Joy-Cons can be used for motion control, similar to the Wii Remote, so it just doesn't make any sense. Although that's the only game on top of my head that I can think of, I'm sure there are loads of games on the NES that people would love to see come to the Nintendo Switch Online, but they're just not there. So yeah, basically just fix the NES Online app, make it similar to the SNES Online app. We can take away the little bar at the bottom telling you the controls and whatnot, and just give us normal games. But that's all I could say. Maybe just throw the entire Game & Watch gallery on there as well, cause why not? I don't know. The only Punch-Out game I played is a little bit on the NES and SNES Online apps. However, I couldn't figure out the controls, so I just left it. However, being that the game hasn't received a new title since the Wii, I think it's about time for a return. Although I don't know about much of the game on the Wii, if it's just going to be fight after fight after fight, I think it might be boring. Why not give the game more of a story to it? Maybe you can make it in a kind of RPG similar to the Mario Tennis on the Game Boy Advance. If you play that game, you would know what I mean. I think something like that can be cool for Punch-Out. Now, Nintendo is saying that bad sales throughout the franchise is the reason that Chibi Robos kind of be put on the back burner. However, it's kind of Nintendo's fault. I mean, look at it this way, the first game in the series was released on the GameCube in 2006 when the Wii was already starting up, so that game sold a decent amount. However, because it was at the end of the GameCube's life, it didn't sell as much as they would have expected. They made another game on the DS and that sold kind of okay as well. However, being that was a decent departure from the first game, it didn't sell as much. Then they had a chance to bring back the series on the Wii, similar to the way that they brought Pikmin and other games to the Wii, with updated motion control features. However, Chibi Robo was the only GameCube to Wii port that they just decided not to release outside of Japan, which is kind of weird if you ask me. If they want sales, then why don't you release it outside of Japan? You already have it there. Everything's translated and everything, you just have to port it to the Wii. What's the problem? Besides that, I think there were 2 other DS games that they never released outside of Japan, which is weird because why would you blame low sales if you never released it? Then you got the 2 3DS games being Ziplash and that weird camera one. Ziplash was just a mediocre, practically unfun game that simply used Chibi Robo's standout feature in order to make a platformer. So basically, nothing got to do with the original game, the one that people actually liked, besides the actual character involved. And then you got that weird AR game that was just on the 3DS because 3DS. So TLDR, they're blaming low sales for the loss of a franchise when they themselves caused it by releasing the games on a dying console, not releasing the games outside of Japan, and when they do release the games, they're either really mediocre or didn't even give them any advertisements, from what I heard. So, I mean, just give us a new game, maybe give us a remake of the GameCube version, something, I don't know, just something. Next is Golden Sun, and although I've only played a little bit of the first game, from what I know, the 3 Golden Sun games are held to pretty high acclaim. So I think if the games were ported to Switch, then they'll sell pretty well, maybe as part of a collection pack or something. Maybe they can even remake the games in the kind of Octopath Traveler, I don't know, what do they call it, 2D HD graphics or something like that? I think if they remade Golden Sun with those kind of graphics, it would sell much more than just a simple port. And besides, we know Nintendo has at least some interest in the franchise, as they removed the Isaac Assist trophy in Smash 4, but brought him back in Ultimate. And the guys that make Golden Sun, which is Camelot, haven't really been doing anything since Mario Tennis Aces, so just why not? All I could say about Custom Robo is that I played about 2 hours of the GameCube version and loved every minute of it, so just why not bring it back? I haven't played any of the games in the Advance Wars series, however I have played Fire Emblem, and being that that game is made by the same developers and is basically meant to be the same concept, I think that going at least 12 years without a new game is probably a disappointment to fans of the series. So I mean, just make a new one already, like, what are you waiting for? Obviously, Intelligent Systems just finished working on Paper Mario, so maybe they're free now, I don't know. A new Pilot Wings game is probably also pretty overdue, and I don't think that it's a game that would take up too much resources. So if it's made as a small game that they sell for like £10, £15 or something like that, then I guess that can be kind of okay. Now with all of those main ones out of the way, I just want to go over a couple of points I want to make. First of all, in a recent interview with the director of Paper Mario: The Origami King, they said something on the lines of Metroid being a casual game. Now, Metroid has never been a casual game, and if Metroid Prime 4 is taking a casual perspective on the series, don't make the game. It is simple as that. If Metroid Prime 4 is not like the first 3 and they make it casual, there is literally no point of making the game and it would flop out of the door. So just don't do that. And also, while we're on the subject of Paper Mario, why is Mario Odyssey allowed to have new and interesting characters and places, yet Paper Mario isn't? It kinda doesn't make sense, like, at all. How'd you go from a series that was in Japan literally called Mario's Story to now where Miyamoto was quoted saying, "It's fine without a story, so it doesn't need one"? Can you just explain that to me, please? Why is Nintendo being so tight-fisted with Paper Mario being an RPG? Whenever you look at the game, they always say that it's an adventure game, an open world game. They never want to mention RPG. Just why? Why aren't you allowing your directors to have creative liberty when it comes to Paper Mario? That was literally the entire point of the series when it was originally made. It just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, with that out of the way, Mario and Donkey Kong was one of those kind of one-off games, but it has at least some sort of relevance to Nintendo, because that is where we got the new redesign for Pauline, the one seen in Mario Odyssey. So if they ever want to do anything with the franchise, I think it would be best if they did it as a mobile game, not as a Switch game. They could put it on the Switch, but I think it'll be better suited for the casual market. So, I mean, do whatever you want with that, basically. And finally, just give us a new Kirby Air Ride in Super Mario Strikers. Just Come on, give us Super Mario Strikers Supercharged, whatever you want to call it. Just give us a new game in that series. The first 2 games were amazing. Why don't you want to make more? Seriously, it just doesn't make sense. Kirby Air Ride as well. City Trials was an amazing feature. Why don't you want to make it again? One of Nintendo's biggest problems is that they don't understand the power of nostalgia. Everything they want to make has to be new, has to be something different. They don't want to go back and revisit what made the old games so great to start with. And it's because of that reason that Nintendo just doesn't make any games in these franchises anymore. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little dive into Nintendo history and what they can do in the future. If they're actually going to do anything into the future about this, probably not. But it was fun to look into. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more in the future, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, comment below, all that rubbish. And that's it for me for now, and until next time, see ya.